EMZT Radio is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audio download and a free 30-day trial at audibletrial.com/EMZT. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Who's in the box? What's in the box?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
You're staying. This isn't a democracy anymore.
This is now the United States of
EMZT Radio.
They mostly come at night. Mostly.
Welcome to another episode of EMZT Radio. I am Bane Hellborn, and my partner, the infamous MJ, is right over there. He's over there. I don't know if you can see him, but he's over there.
Over here somewhere, in a box, you know. Hey, everybody.
In a box.
Your friendly neighborhood Space Pope has arrived again. So, yes. Space Pope has arrived. Okay. Right off the bat, I'm going to ask you a question. And I purposely told you this off air without telling you what the question was because I want a genuine first reaction. What is your favorite?
Here we go.
What is your favorite horror genre tabletop game?
Tabletop shit.
Yeah, a tabletop game. Oh, we have to watch our language now because, we might get kicked off Skype for cussing. Anyways.
Yeah, well, fuck Skype.
Suck a dick, Microsoft. You have been banned from Skype. Okay, anyways.
The only tabletop game I've ever played has been D&D. I'm sorry. That's all. I haven't done many tabletop games.
I was just wondering.
All I've done is D&D and what was that? There was another one. I did try Magic once.
Magic the Gathering.
But that's not tabletop.
You didn't like Magic cards? I used to play Rook when I was a
didn't.
kid, so I mean, it's like I played Rook long before Magic got popular, and Rook kind of turned me off to card-based trading games.
Yeah.
Sorry, kids, it did. I mean, that's why I never got into Magic and Pokemon, because Rook just turned me off from card games.
Yeah.
Period. For me...
And then at the time, it also, did Vampire the Masquerade, remember that? They had cards for that?
Yes, they did.
That's where it went to. That was more fun. But yeah, that's it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I think for me... it's got to be Gloom.
Huh.
Gloom was awesome, and for those of you who don't know what Gloom is, let me try to explain Gloom. We should try to find people and do tabletop games and put it on our YouTube page, because that would be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be absolutely fun.
Yeah.
Basically, okay, yes, I know Gloom is a card game, okay? Yeah, alright. But, you basically are this family of misfits. You're kind of the Addams family, alright? You have to go and suffer the greatest tragedies possible before helping them to pass on the well-deserved respite of death.
Jeez.
So basically, it's how doomed can you make your character? and the one the one who makes their character the most doomed basically wins. So
wow.
So I kind of like it because it's really funny in a way. You can make it really funny, and you could be as campy as the Addams family. So I mean,
Nice.
that's kind of why I like it. I also like Pandemic, but my problem with Pandemic is it's a co-op game, and I don't want to be on the same side as everybody else. I'm when I sit down to a board game, like unlike D&D, yeah, okay, but like Pandemic, you're with everybody. Like the goal of the game isn't to like complete quests; it's to save the world from various and sundry diseases. I don't want to be that way, but there is a variant of that game that makes it very interesting. You could have one player sabotage. I've heard people doing this, that they will have one player who will purposely sabotage curing the viruses on Pandemic, and you have to find them.
Well, that's not nice.
Yeah, and figure out which one is sabotaging.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, it's just that we've never had a tabletop discussion.
No, we haven't. Like, but I haven't played many.
That's true.
If any. I mean, just one.
In video game news, Far Cry 5 has come out. And why would I bring up
you were debating whether or not to buy that.
Yeah, and why would I bring up Far Cry 5 on a horror podcast? Have you seen what the...
Gee, I don't know.
Have you seen the plot of Far Cry 5? Yeah.
No, actually, I haven't.
You have to stop a cult. This is I didn't know this was the first Far Cry game in America. It's set in America. So, yeah, you have to stop a cult in a small town, and they're murdering the citizens and stuff. That's why I've been I'm only on the fence because of the cost of the game. Like, I want to buy it, but I don't want to buy
is
$60.
Oh, that's the standard cost, yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's just... So, if you want to send us money on Patreons, you send us an extra $60 so I can go buy Far Cry 5 and we'll live stream it. That's actually a promise, by the way. If you buy me Far Cry 5, I will live stream it.
Why not?
Oh yeah, Mad Max was added to Xbox Game Pass.
Oh,
along with Sea of Thieves. I don't like what Xbox is doing with their Game Pass now. You get their Xbox exclusive titles.
Mm-hmm.
They automatically go to the Game Pass on the day it's released.
Oh, damn.
That's more than enough to make you buy a Xbox and get the Game Pass. Just for that. So I have Sea of Thieves.
I'm close.
Yeah, I have Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen trailers for that.
I haven't really gotten into it yet, but they say that you're not really supposed to... That's really made as a co-op multiplayer game.
Yeah.
But I'm not very good at meeting people online and finding people that'll play this game, and honestly, in a way, I kind of hate co-op games because you're working with somebody, and I have all these ideas, and they never, people never go with my ideas. So, yeah.
I don't see why not. You've come up with some pretty brilliant ideas.
I'm insane.
It kind of helps.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick. I don't know if you heard about this or not, but Shout Factory last month secured the distribution rights to the remake of David Cronenberg's Rabid.
Oh.
Yes.
No. Nice.
And they Dread Central has an interview with David Cronenberg.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, he's fun to hear chatting. Oh,
and
yes.
believe it or not, he says, and I quote, that the Twisted Twins, the Sokas, are the only filmmakers capable of remaking Rabid.
Yes! The Soska twins. Yes!
Yes.
Yes!
So look for that coming.
That I would agree to. I would agree to that.
And also on Netflix, on Netflix, hey, guess who's in another movie? The man who is in every movie known to mankind since 1998, Martin Freeman, is back in Cargo. And,
right.
Cargo is a father who is slowly developing into a zombie who must get his infant child to safety before he turns.
I feel like there's a film already.
Yeah. I feel like I've
just... it was The Road. The Road with Viggo Mortensen. Mm-hmm. He's trying to get his son to safety before he got killed. So, yeah. Okay.
Oh, and also, we are getting, I believe, a prequel to The Purge.
Yes. I heard
it's
that.
Called The First Purge.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it's
a little backstory on how it all started.
Yeah, it is. It's coming out July 4th.
Yep.
And I love...
What a way to celebrate the 4th of July.
Have you seen the poster?
No.
Oh, the poster is fucking beautiful. The First Purge, it has one of those... It's in the style of the Make America Great Again hat. And that's the poster. Uh-huh. That's literally the poster. It's the First Purge in the style of the Make America Great Again hat. And it just says July 4th. So are we trying to say that Donald Trump was the guy who started the Purge?
Oh, boy.
Wait a minute.
Maybe.
I'm not laughing at that because that might actually happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I could actually see that happening under Donald Trump. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He would think it's a great idea. I personally think it's a great idea. Why not?
I kind of agree. But
people it would be really hard, though, because...
Oh, no, go ahead.
It would just be really, really hard. It would just be really, really hard because people given one day to be as savage as they fucking want. It'll be a bloodbath. I mean, there'll hardly be anybody left.
I've thought about it. I don't think I would go out and kill anybody.
I personally wouldn't.
No, and I don't mean that as in I deplore murder, blah 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 blah. I think my first place is, man, I'm gonna go for the money.
Bingo.
I mean,
yeah.
Sure, if I kill a few people along the way, I have no problem with it. But damn, show me the freaking money, baby.
That's right.
And I'm not going for a bank. I'm going for like these fucking... Oh, that's the other thing I'm going to do. I'm going to take a car too, man. I'm going to go like the car lots and just... I'm going to go find like the gaudiest car that I can. And
will it be a muscle car or will it just be a sports car?
It's going to be a hot rod.
Muscle car?
Hot rod, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Hot rodding it.
Damn right. The only way I could get my Mustang.
Yep. You and me both. You and me both.
Yeah.
That's the only way we're going to get a Mustang.
And money in the bank that we don't have.
Yeah, unless you guys want to start donating to EMZT.
No, but right now, it'll just go for the podcast, for new software, new equipment.
Hopefully better internet for both of us, but anyways.
Yeah, better internet. Yeah. Yeah.
So I tell you I got a Nintendo Switch.
No.
Yeah, this is pretty cool, actually. Boxed. I went to Boxed, and this is an unpaid endorsement. Which I love, by the way. I would recommend Boxed, and if anybody from Boxed listens to this podcast, please sponsor the podcast. Shower us in free food and stuff.
Yeah, I'm easy that way.
I I bought a few things unboxed, and one of the things I bought was Super Mario Brothers cereal.
Oh.
And I get my box, and it's a whole bunch of like the Oots snack packs. I'm big on that now, by the way. Like little snack packs with chips and stuff like that you can put in lunch boxes. Huge on that. Huge on buying those boxes of those. They last you all month if you do it right. So I open the box and I'm like, wait a minute. No, this can't be right. I didn't order this. The Nintendo Switch is sitting on the top. Everything else was things I ordered, like mason jars. Yes, I live in the South. That means I drink out of a fucking mason jar, okay? Kiss my ass.
Are you still drinking that moonshine?
No. Believe it or not, I'll say this right now. I am now 1 year and officially on Sunday, 1 year, 4 months sober. Teetotal.
Congratulations! That's an accomplishment.
It is an accomplishment. Wow. January 1st, 2017 was the last time alcohol touched my lips.
Oh, that's amazing.
So for first time in over 30-something years, no drugs and no alcohol are in my system at all, completely. So I'm actually very proud.
How do you feel about that?
I'm proud of myself. Now I have to lose about 65 pounds, and then I'll be, where I want to be.
Right? I'm up to 150. I need to drop. Yeah.
Thanks, doctors. We appreciate the gentle encouragement you give us on the whole you need to lose weight thing.
Oh yeah, about that. So my doctor tried to help me because I'm not diabetic. I'm just borderline. So she tried to get me into the diabetic and endocrine center to help with my dieting and everything. Mm-hmm. Guess what they said? They said I am not diagnosed diabetic or with a chronic kidney disease, so they can't help me. I'm like,
yeah, they can't help you.
I don't know if I should be upset or if I should be happy that I'm not diabetic.
Well, I mean, you should be happy you're not diabetic, but I think, because I'm in that same boat with you. Family history. We're both, let's be honest, we're both overweight. We both have a family history of diabetes. Or as our friend Wilfred Brimley says, as our friend Wilfred Brimley says, diabetes.
Diabetes.
We both of us have family history of the heart conditions. So I think centers like that should help people like us. We're not, but we're on the borderline of it. And
or like I think I'm just like 2 marks under the line. But it's close.
Last time I went and had my physical, the doctor said if you don't cut the stress out of your life, you'll be on blood pressure medication forever.
Yeah, I was told that too.
So it's lose weight, cut the stress out. And then you'll stay off the blood pressure medication at least till you're about 75.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Good luck with that with our stress levels of what we have to do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I, we're upfront about everything we do here. You take care of your mom, which is extremely, I know you do it out of love, but it's still very stressful. I am a morning show producer in radio, and I'm also an assistant programmer, which is an extremely stressful job.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's very time consuming too. I mean, I think that more than anything, between running a podcast and doing what we both do, we barely have downtime, folks. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So, and we are still, and I know we keep saying this, but we are still trying to expand to YouTube. We're trying to expand to other genres, trying to get everything done. We're only 2 people, so. I don't know how we got into this long-winded discussion. I like it though. I mean, we're in this long-winded discussion.
Yeah. I think we need to do auditions for an assistant.
We do. We actually do need a social media assistant. I'm pretty sure I can find somebody. Like Sammy, the unpaid intern.
Oh, you know. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I was reading up about podcast distributions, and I think we already started it with Stitcher and SoundCloud and all that. So that's how we start, but it's just going to take time. So,
and, I mean, we're in a great... I want to say this right now, because we don't say this enough on our podcasts. I want to do a shout-out to our friends at Potter and Family. Our Potter and Family people are freaking awesome. They help us promote... They help us promote our show. We promote them. Matter of fact, Epic Film Guys, I want to bring this up real quick. In May, Epic Film Guys, and go check out their podcast, damn it, because they are pretty awesome. They're going to be doing a live stream for The Cure, which I think we might be doing something similar soon, except we're going to send our money to Scares That Care.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out on that. We're trying to figure out what we could do. I'm going to start talking with those guys and see, how they set their stuff up, but check out Epic Film Guys. They are doing a live stream for The Cure in May. So get on that. Do that. Please support them in that. And support all of our friends of the Potter and Family. Because eventually we're going to start having some of them on. Which is going to be cool.
We still need to coordinate getting on their show, too. That would help.
Yeah, and we've had a couple of them ask if we could come on, and our schedules have just kind of clashed, and so we haven't hurt anybody yet, but we're trying, guys. We're trying. We'll have some people on and ramble on like we're doing now because we like to ramble on and sing our song. Anyways. Also, don't forget...
and did you see when I was at... Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
Sorry. And did you see it was sort of a working Renaissance fair I went to? I did.
Yes.
Got us a new band.
I saw that. And they are now on the station, so...
Yes.
I put them on the station the other day.
And we're just waiting for them to be done with the Renaissance circuit, which is not going to be for a few more months. So that's okay.
Metal, but we have more pirate metal on this show. I'm all for pirate metal, by the way. I love Ailstorm.
Actually, that's not bad. I listened to that. That's pirate really metal. Good.
I enjoy. I wish pirate metal was a bigger genre.
Yeah, because it's a sub genre.
Yeah. It's a subgenre of a subgenre of a subgenre.
Yeah. But it's part of metal.
Yeah, I would love to get some more, pagan and folk metal bands to sign up with us.
Oh, yeah.
We get a lot of people that like, hey, can you play our music? And so, yeah, we'll be happy to play your music. The only problem is, we're a little broke at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's
we can list all their links.
Yeah.
List all their links and stuff. That's what we can do.
It's a little difficult to buy your music when you're broke. Just saying.
Yeah. Yes.
Because we are one of those people that still believes, and yes, I know, and we thank David Barry a lot for sending us his music. He actually sends us his music for free. Not that we don't ask, and I just want to make this perfectly clear. We don't ask for that. We just
no.
do. We just get it because he's a nice guy. He's an awesome dude. I want to have him back on.
Yes.
Eventually.
Yes, he was hilarious to talk to.
If you don't know who David Barry is of Calling All Astronauts, please, there is literally almost 3 hour podcast we did with him.
Just with him.
Just with him. The interview itself was over 90 minutes.
There's a show right there.
Yeah. Basically, our entire show was the interview. What was I going to say? But other than that, I mean, yes, you can send us free music, but we're not specifically asking for free music. We will download your stuff. We will buy your stuff. We will support you because we believe in that shit.
Yeah. Damn right.
Yeah, take that.
Artists need to get paid.
Artists do need to get paid. So, anyways, we are just going on and going on here because we don't have a lot of content this week, though, do we?
No. But you did do an interview, right? Or did we do an interview?
I did do an interview.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
We have an interview coming up with, and I knew everything would go to hell the minute my brain would open, Brad Rego of 221 Films. Going to talk about a new way of crowdfunding.
Yeah. Because he doesn't like the standard crowdfunding. So he wanted to do it a different way.
Yeah,
which I think people would really get into this. I mean, if it was offered more instead of the perks, they would totally go for this.
Yeah, it's basically what they call Title III investing. You can invest in this movie for as low as $100. And see, that's the downside to that. Is I like the idea. I think the idea is great. I like the idea that, you know, if things work out right, I can make money off of this. But what I don't like, and again, it's constructive criticism. What I don't like is, and what I do like about Kickstarter and GoFundMe and all those others is, with the Title III investing, you're basically freezing out people that can only afford to give $5, $10, $20. You know, where
maybe the most is $50 they could give, but that anything higher,
Where this investing, it starts at $100, and I think he's got it up to like $10,000 you can invest in.
Yeah,
it's very interesting, and yes. You even hear my accountant side come out on me today in this interview. It's a pre-taped interview. We taped it pre-taped. Is it taped before you tape? No, it's a taped interview. See, I'm doing that again. I'm violating Lord Carlin's grammar rules.
Yep.
We stick the word pre on way too much crap, and I just said pre-taped. I taped it before I taped it. In a see, there we go again. In a recorded interview. Yeah, I recorded it before I recorded it. Come on, Matt. Anyways. That's staying in too, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, it's very interesting. You hear my accountant side come out a little bit, and then we got into a damn good discussion on movies.
Okay.
Namely, Jaws comes up. We spent a good 5-10 minutes on Jaws.
Nice.
Yeah, you'll like the
Jaws. Jaws is an unusual film.
Yes, it is. All right, so I think we've bored all of everybody enough. Let's play some music here on MCT Radio.
Ships attract flies, an audience Chronicity, a state of prolonged duration, recurrent, habitual, chronic.
A new mini-series on chronic pain and illness by your friends Matt and Phil from Semi-Intellectual Musings.
We go beyond medical diagnosis to explore the often forgotten political, social, and personal sides.
You'll hear stories from extraordinary people overcoming extraordinary challenges.
Authors, entrepreneurs, volunteers, coaches, and caregivers.
They are so much more than their diagnoses, yet each have found ways to persevere.
You'll also hear some familiar voices from the indie podcast community,
showing that art, creativity, and passion are possible while living in chronicity.
These stories and more, starting April 1st at thesim.podbean.com.
If you're in the London area, April the 19th might actually be a very cool day for you. You want to go head over to the Miskatonic Institute of Horror Studies. That is where they are presenting a restoration of Nosferatu at the Horse Hospital. It is April the 19th. The Miskatonic Horror Studies Institute in London welcomes Watchmaker Films founder Mark Rance to discuss the process and importance of film restoration while putting a spotlight on his challenging work in Nosferatu. This show and tele-lecture will illustrate many of the issues encountered with varying degrees of success, resolved in digital restoration of Murano's Nosferatu. We will begin with a description and the original production of the technology used to make the film. So definitely want to check this one out. If you're in the London area, you definitely want to get a hold of this one. It's Nosferatu is being restored.
When we got all the weed that we need. irreverent, obnoxious, and very hateful. If you like your horror movie reviews full of snark and humor, then you'll want to watch me, Andy, the Bohemian Celt, on From Zen to Zombies, exclusively on YouTube.
From the-line-up.com, what would you do if you moved into a serial killer's house of horrors but couldn't break your lease? Turn on the TV. Isn't that your house? That's the last thing you'd want to hear if what's on TV is a documentary about serial killers, but that's what happened to Katrina McGaw in 2014. She had just moved into the house in Ferguson, Missouri, and her landlord made no mention of anything nefarious ever taking place there, even throwing in a dining room table to seal the deal. But as it turns out, the home was that of a man named Maury Travis, who authorities believe tortured and murdered as many as 20 women before being apprehended in 2002. McGaw's friend had been watching an A&E documentary on cold cases when she recognized her friend's house on the show. Even the free table had been an instrument for murder. Travis made gruesome videos of the torture and murder of his victims, which depicted him tying his victims to a support beam in the basement of the house. When a local newspaper received a letter and a map indicating where one of the victims' body was located, police traced the map, made with computer program, back to Travis's computer. Authorities placed the suspect under arrest, but they didn't have the chance to put him on trial. Travis committed suicide while in custody just a few weeks after being arrested. While the bodies of 2 of his alleged victims were successfully recovered, police believe he may have been responsible for as many as 20 murders. Understandably terrified, McGaw told her landlord she knew of the house's history and wanted out of her lease. The landlord, who turned out to be the serial killer's mother, refused to let her out of the agreement. After consulting a lawyer, McGaw learned the hard way that landlords or sellers are not always obligated to disclose things like murders or suicides. While some states require such disclosures, in Missouri there is no such obligation. What's more, the law usually applies to properties that are on the market for sale, not for rental. McGaw called on the support of her family. They dutifully arrived, but what happened next only made matters worse. While family members gathered to discuss solutions to McGaw's struggle, one relative, a little girl, played in the basement. Suddenly the child grew frightened. She began to cry. She was steps away from the pole where Travis once tied his victims, and in McGaw's opinion, reacted as if she could clearly see someone in pain, but no one was there. After that, McGaw called in the big guns, the news media. Reporters from the local television station covered the story, and shortly afterwards McGaw was finally able to break her lease and move elsewhere. Yet she still can't get the horror of that afternoon in the basement out of her mind. As she told the news station, quote, "The child looked over like she was scared, like she saw somebody scared and crying and nobody was there," end quote. And you are listening to EMZT Radio.
You love midnight movies, don't you? But can you handle midnight movies 24 hours a day?
Your death will be indescribable.
Find out on Black Flag TV. The first viral television on the web. Black Flag TV is entirely dedicated to haunting horror, science fiction, and cult movies. Broadcasting live 24 hours a day, obscure independent movies and classic horror. Make Black Flag TV your sanctuary for the horror genre.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Visit us now, blackflag.tv.
All right, back we are. Brad Rego. Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing good. And you are here representing 221 Films Incorporated.
That I am.
All right. Well, welcome to EMZT. First, we always love having the first timers on the show. Fresh meat.
Yeah. This is very nerve-wracking. I've never been here.
Nah, don't worry. We don't bite on the first date. No, so you're good. But I love the sound of this, and 221 Films is producing Cryptid, and you guys are promising an old school creature feature, which is right up my alley.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about this, because you're promising real effects, not CGI.
Oh, you better believe it. We're talking like person in a rubber suit sort of creature effects, like that kind of throwback of like level of special effects. But yeah, it's going to be so just to give you a quick idea of the story, it is an old school kind of monster movie, a creature feature. It centers around a small town in Maine. It's about a journalist who lives in a small town, and he discovers an animal attack, and he thinks that it is something more sinister than what the authorities believe it to be. And so then he and his photographer partner go on this kind of investigation to figure out what it is that's killing these people in this small town. So it's kind of like it's a little bit of like a Jaws kind of mixed with, in a very rough way, like a Zodiac, where it's like a journalist kind of thing, trying to unpack and solve this mystery of what it is that's killing these things. And spoiler alert, it is in fact a creature that lives in the woods that is doing these killings.
Oh, so there you go. No.
Yeah.
But well, I guess tell us a little bit of. Do you have a cast already? Do you have it casted or?
No, we don't have it casted yet, and there's specific reasons for that. So right now, we're in the funding stage, which of course is like, I feel like every movie is perpetually in the funding stage.
Oh yes.
So no, it's not cast at the moment. So what we're doing right now is we're trying to do something a little bit new on our funding page, which is instead of like the traditional sort of crowdfunding where you donate and then you get like a T-shirt or a DVD or some sort of swag or something, and then that's kind of it. Instead, we're actually getting investors through crowdfunding on our project. So as opposed to just walking away with some sort of tchotchke, you're actually going to own a piece of the company that you're giving to or you're investing.
Yeah, and I noticed here that your investment here is minimum investment $100, which and again you're doing something different, which I could actually respect here, and a little bit. I guess let me see if I can't word this right, because I have an MBA, so my brain just automatically goes into this stuff. I'm trying not to get too deep in the woods here, but so. I read on here you're saying 120% of your initial investment. So you're basically saying if you give us $100, and once we can fulfill everything, you're going to give us back 120.
That's right. That is correct. We try to structure this because we try to structure it very similar to what a normal investment in film would be. So like 120% is kind of a standard, industry standard sort of return on investment on film. So if you just have like private investors and someone invests a couple $100,000, 120% back is around standard for what you'd expect, unless obviously you're dealing with like points and other things and ownership and whatnot. But 120% is relatively standard. So we've kind of modeled it after that, so that even though the dollar figure is much lower, we still want to have the same amount of return back, so that they are basically, you're getting the same terms as a larger investment, but it's at smaller dollars.
Okay. And how much are you looking to raise here, going by this way?
Going by this way, we're looking to raise about 30% of the budget. So the budget for the film is $350,000. I think on the site, well, I know on the site, it lists $374, but that is with that's the budget, including the fees involved in the platform and the portal in which we're going through. But the actual budget of the film itself is $350,000. And so what we're looking to raise on that particular platform is a third of the budget, which is roughly $107,000. The reason for that being is I've made a number of connections, and I've kind of talked with a number of different production companies and distribution houses and whatnot, and that's kind of the number that, as a production company, we need to bring to the table in order to get the rest of it through either matching funds, debt financing, tax incentives, you name it. But it's like that's kind of what we need to do to bring to the table in order to get the rest of it kind of funded in slightly more traditional ways.
Well, see, you already answered my next question. I was wondering if you already, had the rest of the budget through other types of investors or anything else like that. Would you be looking for investors off of this platform here? Like say somebody wanted to give you $150,000.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a matter of fact, I've had several meetings with different people. So far, we've got basically currently I'm meeting with like 3 different people right now off of this website who are interested in perhaps funding it to some level. And so, yeah. So the short answer is absolutely, because that's where the 2/3 of the budget is going to come from, is either through other more larger scale investors or through production companies or distribution companies or through pre-sales or that sort of thing. But yeah, if we're currently in talks with a couple people to try and get the 2/3, but this first third is always, the first one's always the hardest. And so that first third of the money is always like the most difficult to raise. And so that's the one that nobody wants to be first, right? Like nobody wants to be the first one in. So this was kind of like a way that we came up with in order to kind of mitigate some of that and kind of allow a whole bunch of people to come on board and take advantage of this sort of style, and also help in defraying the cost to just like one person giving $100,000.
Okay. And moving it back over to the movie side of things for a minute here. This is obviously you've got other releases. So I'm staring right at them right now. This is not your first feature film, am I correct?
Yeah, no, I've done a couple. This would be my 4th feature film. I get a little weird with this because like my first one, I consider it a feature, but it was only like 50 minutes. Yeah. So it's like a weird. I always kind of like, technically, I don't know if it's considered a feature or not, but I always consider it a feature. So yeah, this Cryptid would be my 4th feature film that I've directed, and then I've done. I work as a cinematographer professionally, and so I've shot a couple feature films as well. But as far as directorially, this would be my 4th feature.
Okay, and well, I guess if you want to, tell us about some of the other projects that you've done. I'm sure our audience would love to know about them.
Sure. So I'm going to tell you about the last one that I did. That's the one that I think just like with anyone who makes anything, you always, I feel like the last one you do, at least you hope anyway, you get better with each one that you do,
Yeah, your last one's your best one.
Yeah, at least you hope that, right? So, like, I love everything I've done, of course, but I also hate everything I've done, of course. But the last one I did, which is the most widely available right now, which is on Amazon Prime. So if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can watch it for free, is The Killing of Jacob Marr, which is kind of in the same way where we're doing a creature feature. That is The Killing of Jacob Marr is a slasher film. So it's a kids in a cabin sort of thing, go up to a small cabin that they rent. And there is an old inhabitant of the cabin who is still around, who's not happy about these new people coming into his house. And so it's a slightly traditional slasher film, at least from the setup's perspective. But I think we kind of do something a little bit different with that, where we spend a little bit more time with the characters. They're they're not quite the stereotypical slasher characters. They're kind of, at least I like to think of them as like actual people. They're not just stereotypes. There's no like virgin, there's no jock, there's no, that sort of thing. It's just very much like, at least that's what we shot for, is to try and make it where it's, here are 5 people that conceivably really could be friends, hanging out in this cabin, and then, disaster ensues. But yeah, that's called The Killing of Jacob Marr, and that is currently on Amazon Prime. It's on a few other places as well. It's on like Tubi TV and like Vimeo and a few other places. But that's the biggest one. That's the one that people seem to go to the most, is Amazon Prime.
Awesome. Have you always stuck to horror, or do you do other? Have you done other genres?
I have done, one of the features I did was a comedy. It was a mockumentary, actually. So, I don't know, I think you had mentioned somewhere you were a gamer or you like games, but were you ever into Dungeons and Dragons growing up? Or
Oh, yeah.
Was that a silly question? So I was a big D&D player growing up. And I haven't played in forever now, but I remember it was a big thing. And so a couple years ago, I wanted to do like a little mockumentary short about Dungeons and Dragons players. And that short ended up becoming like a feature film, because I just wrote a whole bunch of stuff and it just became a feature film. That's just what happened. So I did a movie called The Assemblage of the Crystal Sphere, a D&D story, which I think you can get it. I think that's also available on Amazon. I can't remember. That's been a while. I'm not sure if that is still on Amazon, but I believe that was available on Amazon as well. And it is. You want to talk like low budget? It is about as low budget as you could possibly imagine. And it's a mockumentary. It's so it's very Christopher Guest sort of Office style, where it's just cameras following these people who are in the end of their 5-year campaign. So it's the last couple months at the end of their 5-year Dungeons and Dragons campaign. And so it just kind of like follow these individuals. So it's kind of, it's all interviews and individual moments with them. And then there's a little bit of gameplay that happens. And so, yeah, so that was a comedy. That was my only real foray into non-horror. And I will say, nobody really liked it. So I kind of was like, well, maybe comedy is not my thing. But yeah. So other than that movie, everything else I've done has been horror, or at least some sort of offshoot of horror. Like I've got a couple of scripts and stuff that are like science fiction horror, that sort of thing. But it's usually around the horror genre, sure.
So I guess that would make you a horror fan growing up. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yeah, well, yes and no. Here's the thing. I was never allowed to watch scary movies as a kid growing up, because they would give me nightmares, and my parents obviously got very tired of that. And so like when I was a little kid, like they wouldn't let me see horror movies because it would screw me up mentally too much. And so for the longest time, I didn't watch horror movies. I didn't watch them at all until I was, into high school. And then when I was maybe like 15, I had met a friend of mine who was huge into horror movies. And I always call him like my pusher. Like he was the dude who like, he's the guy that he had a room in the basement and he had like all the VHS tapes on the wall of bought horror movies, but then also ones recorded off of late night cable sort of horror movies. So like just like Black Spine, like no label sort of thing. Yeah, and so like I would go to his house, and then I was like virgin territory for him. So he'd just be like, "Wait a minute, you've never seen these? Well, let me show you what you've been missing." And so then, I would go over. So late, we'd stay up late at night, and then he would show me all these horror movies that I'd never seen before, and I just fell in love with them at that point. And that's when, we started like getting into it, and that's kind of the moment where we were like, hey, we should like try and make some of this stuff. And so then we would like start screwing around with like my dad's old VHS camera, and we would, no editing. It's all like in-camera editing and that sort of thing. But since then, so since I was like 15, which is longer ago than I'd care to admit, I have totally been into horror movies, and I have not looked back since.
So what was the one that got you hooked?
Oh man, that is a great question. I wish I had an awesome answer for that. I mean, I remember like probably one of the first ones that I saw was Pet Sematary. I don't know if I would say, I don't know if I would say like that was the one that got me hooked. But I just very distinctly remember my friend coming over after school, and he's like, I brought Pet Sematary. And I was like, I don't know what that is. And so he's like, well, let me show you. And so, yeah, Pet Sematary was like one of the first. And I remember watching that and was like, that was awesome. And then he brought me into like the Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead. I know that order is wrong, but
it doesn't matter. They're all great.
Yeah, like he brought me into like those movies, and then it was a downward spiral at that point where we just started watching just tons of different stuff. Then it was like the Evil Dead movies, which I would say like the in terms of like the movie that kind of got me into a realistic idea that I could make movies was probably the original Evil Dead to a certain degree. Like just it was probably one of the first movies I would say I remember where it was my first experience with like an independent film, like at least the knowledge of what an independent film was. Like everything else, like I watched like Dawn of the Dead, and you watch like Pet Sematary, and you watch like Child's Play, and all these like great movies, Exorcist, Alien, Omen, all those awesome ones. But they were all like studio movies. Whether they were or they weren't, it didn't matter. It just had like that perception of like, well, this is a movie made by a studio, whatever. Evil Dead was one of those ones where it was like, hey, this was kind of made by just a couple of dudes that liked horror movies or liked movies in general and wanted to make a horror movie. And that was like the first time that I was like, oh, this is something that's like, yeah, you can kind of just get some people together with a little bit of money and make something that's decent, But yeah, but getting back to the which horror movie, I don't know. I mean, I can't remember what one. I don't know if there was a singular one that just totally knocked me out of the park to like, I must see everything. But it was maybe more of a slower progression on that.
Do you have a go-to one?
A go-to horror movie?
Oh yeah. Having a crap day and you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna plop this in and say screw it.
Honestly, I don't know if this is a boring choice or not. I can't even say anymore. But like the movie that still, if you would ask me like, what is the movie, just hands down the movie that you have seen the most amount of times in your lifetime, I would go with Jaws. I would absolutely go with Jaws. Like. It's just, I love Jaws so much. I mean, to this day, I will not go in the ocean. Like, it's just, it's completely, it's screwed me up in a way that will never be resolved.
So basically, you're saying the poster didn't lie.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. Because it's a great movie, and as a kid, I loved it as a kid. And then as I grew up, I like appreciated it more from a filmmaking perspective, and watching all the behind the scenes stuff and interviews and whatever. And like the thing that impresses me the most, I think, from an outside filmmaker, I don't know, whatever. The thing that impresses me the most about it is the fact how it seemingly has fooled everyone into believing it's not a horror movie. Like
it's a good action movie or something, but.
Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like whenever people have asked me like, they're like, oh, what's your favorite horror movie or whatever, and I'm like, I don't like favorite horror movies. That's a weird question. Yeah. But if I had to say, if you put a gun to my head and say like, what's your favorite horror movie, I might say Jaws, and I always get a lot of reactions like, well, that's not a horror movie, and I think maybe because it's Spielberg, or I think it's because they spent so much time on the characters and the story, and the people are likable and they're three-dimensional people.
Yeah.
I think it gets miscategorized as something else, and I always have to fight for it and be like, what are you talking about? It's absolutely a horror movie. It's just it's just a creature feature, man. It's a monster movie.
Yeah.
It just so happens it's got great characters and great cinematography and awesome story, and like, but it is 100% a horror movie. So yeah, so I would say, yeah, that Jaws is definitely the one that is the one that I've seen the most out of my life, and I would say, I mean, how about you? What would you're obviously a horror movie guy. Like, what would you say?
Well, Night of the Living Dead would be my, absolute, if I'm having an absolute crap day, Night of the Living Dead goes in, I just tune the rest of the world out. That one, or Evil Dead, or anything by Bela Lugosi. I'm not even gonna lie. Any Bela Lugosi movie, I'll just pop in, and I'll just turn my phone off at that point. So, no, nobody's talking to me right now.
Nice. To be honest, I have not seen many Bela Lugosi films. I'm trying to think of like what would be a good what's a good entry point into a Bela Lugosi career.
That's a great question right there. Oh, jeez. I always tell people, like, go for the bad ones. So, like, is it the Vanishing Bride, or the Bride Vanishes? Something like that. It's right there on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
But I have, like, this, especially with the old, the old flicks and the Hammer horror and stuff like that. I've got, like, a whole bunch of, like, DVD collections, and it's in there. For Bella, yeah, start with some of the bad ones and work your way to some of the good ones. I tell people the same thing about Vincent Price too.
Oh,
If you're just starting out with Vincent Price, just go look at some of his god awful ones, and then go find some of his Shakespearean ones, and then you'll. Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe there is actually a version of Hamlet.
Is it really?
Yeah, and it's just absolutely great. I think it's Hamlet. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. I don't have my like everything right in front of me at the moment, so
that's okay.
Like, my DVDs are across the room. But yeah, that one, and A Clockwork Orange is something I always recommend to everybody, especially people that are just getting into horror. Mm-hmm. A Clockwork Orange might be a little too much for the kids, but if you're an adult getting into horror, oh, absolutely. It's so perfect. I don't know what Stanley Kubrick did, but it's just so damn perfect.
Yeah, that's one of those uncomfortable horror movies.
Yes.
Where it's just like every single frame is just super uncomfortable. Like I don't know how he does it, and I can't quite put my finger on it precisely. I mean, I know everyone talks about like his center framing and kind of the way he does certain things and the amount of footage he shoots, but I don't know, man. There's just something about the way he shoots. That's
even the music was unsettling. Like, you couldn't get comfortable during it at all because of the music, and I'm like a big fan of Beethoven. I'm like, oh, I can't listen to the Fourth the same way no more.
Right.
But no. Do you have a favorite genre?
You mean like to watch, or like just in general, like to watch movies?
Just in general, like, do you have a favorite, like, well, even horror genre at that? Do you have any preference? Like, I know some people are slasher guys, and some people are just psychological.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, I love horror movies in general. Like that, I will always tend to gravitate towards horror films, or at least a good horror film. But I mean, for me, I love movies, right? I'm just like a huge movie fan, and so I will watch anything that has the threat of being a good story with good characters, So that kind of translates into horror movies as well. Like sometimes it's tough sometimes because maybe you've run into this yourself. I don't know, but like I'm identified amongst my friends as the horror guy. I'm the horror friend. I'm the guy that
Right.
does all the horror movies, right? There's a few exceptions to that, but that's kind of like what my label gets to be.
Oh yeah, I'm the nerd. Don't worry.
There you go. Yeah, right. So like, so people kind of tend to think that, oh, well, I watch like every horror movie that exists that's out there, good or bad, it doesn't matter. Like I just watch everything, and I certainly do watch a lot of them, but I also don't like a lot of them. Like I tend to go towards, I'm really big on story. I'm really big on characters, and some of the more gratuitous stuff. Like, listen, I love gore. I'm all about having crazy amounts of gore and blood effects and all that other stuff. But like, it's not the only thing I like.
Yeah, gore for the sake of gore, I guess, is basically what you're trying to say. You're not a big fan of.
Exactly. And so, I'm a big fan of horror movies that have like, that just are done really well. And so some of the more flat out gratuitous stuff that's out there where it's literally just boobs and blood. And it's just like, we're just having fun out here. Like, I don't tend to go for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I want to be sucked in. I want to be scared, and I want to enjoy myself that way. And so, like I saw, I watched this movie the other day called The Ritual on Netflix, which I enjoyed a lot. And so, and like obviously, It Follows and like The Babadook and movies like that are just. I just feel like they're just done in a way that is taken a little bit more seriously. Maybe that's not doing the other ones credit. I don't know. I just happen to like that. I just happen to like really good horror movies. And although I am a horror movie person, it doesn't mean I love all horror. Right. I would say I tend to shy away from a lot of supernatural horror. I will say, not necessarily because I don't like it. My biggest issue with it is I'm a big proponent of rules, right? I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is in my little brain that connects to rules. And like when you have a slasher, when you have like a guy, a person, like, okay, they're still bound by certain rules. When there's a creature, they're still bound by certain rules. Somehow in a lot of supernatural stuff, they're no longer bound by rules and they can kind of do whatever they want. And to me, I find that to be a little, I don't want to say cheating because it's not necessarily cheating, but it's not completely on the board either, where you can just do whatever you want at any moment. It becomes a little manipulative. Whereas, if you have a ghost, like one of my biggest pet peeves, and I'm jumping all around here and I apologize, but like one of my biggest pet peeves with like ghost movies or supernatural movies in general is in the beginning of any ghost movie, the ghost or poltergeist or whatever it is, like they move a chair a half an inch, they close a door or open a door or like move something slightly, right? And then by the end of the movie, walls are coming down, like everything is going completely bonkers. And it's always the same thing. It's like, well, if you could do that, why didn't you do that in the beginning? And you could have achieved whatever you needed to achieve immediately, as opposed to like letting the characters figure out how to defeat you, as opposed to just bring it all right out of the gate. Like why screw around with like just opening a door for like a half an inch or making a noise in an attic? Like why not just come out like both guns, both barrels blazing and just like take care of what you have to take care of. And like that sort of thing ends up like creeping into my head as I'm watching some of these movies. And so that kind of tends to bother me a little bit. And then also going like the other way on that, where they'll be able to do like these crazy things. Like one of my problems with that movie, The Conjuring, which I thought was really good, except for the ending where she was able to like throw people around, but then if you tie her to a chair, she couldn't break through a rope.
Yeah, she couldn't move. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, it was just like, so anyway, it comes down to bottom line rules, right? I'm all about rules. Yeah. Like set your movie's rules and then live by those rules. And if you do that, you can make it effective and scary because of those rules. As opposed to if you can do anything you want, then it just becomes a sandbox, and then nothing is taken. You don't take anything for granted, so you're not fully scared. I think, because you're just like, oh, I didn't see that coming because I assumed what I don't know. It's all about rules for me, and I don't know why I went on that tangent, but that's as far as like my horror movie knowledge or preferences.
Oh, nice. Now I have to ask this because I do this a lot too. Do you hate watch any movie?
Like any movie specifically, or are there movies I watch that I know I'm gonna hate, but I do it anyway?
Just anything in specific. Like for me, I hate the 80s B movies, but at the same time, I love watching them because they're just so god awful. You're just laughing the entire time. Do you have any movies like that, or?
I mean, listen, anything in the 80s.
Was bad.
Anything in the 80s. I mean, good God, yeah. I mean, Sleepaway Camp is definitely a pretty fantastic watch for, like, I don't want to say hate watching, but just a fantastic movie to watch as like the quintessential 80s no budget horror slasher film that just goes like way bonkers story wise. But yeah, I mean, there's not, I certainly watch a lot of movies now, and there's definitely a lot of movies that I put in knowing like, I don't know if I'm going to like this movie, but I won't know until I watch it. And so I'll get into it, and then I'll know like within 15, 20 minutes or so that it's like, oh no, this movie is awful. And then I'll just hate watch the rest of it. So I don't know if there's any movie specifically that I put in just to hate watch. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think there's anything I specifically put in a hate watch, but there's definitely, I have a thing where I'll always finish a movie. Like, so when you're watching a film, how far into a movie do you go before you know this thing has gone off the rails to the point where it cannot recover?
Probably 45 minutes. I'll give it like, unless it's one of those bad, what I call 3 a.m. Showtime movies.
Yeah.
Where I'm just watching it just for one thing. I'll give it a good 45 minutes. If I crash out of your movie in less than 45 minutes, it's a total shitburger.
Yeah.
And believe me, I've seen a few of those. But no, like I said, usually about 45 minutes, because you're just like, okay, well, this sucks, but it might be important later on down the road. We have to get through this. I was like that with a lot of television episodes for a while. Like, I always hate watching, like, if it's, let's say there's like a 12 episode season.
Mm-hmm.
I will sit there, episode 4, 5, and 6. I will roll my eyes and watch because I know exactly what I'm going to get. It's going to be garbage. It's plot. It's basically advancing the plot line without doing a damn thing.
Yeah, filler. It's just filler episodes.
Basically, yeah. That's what it is. So I kind of like the 6 episode. A lot of people don't like it, and I used to complain about it, but I kind of like the 6 episode season now if you can do it just right, because you can try to advance the story a hell of a lot better in those episodes without having to go through all that crap. But yeah, generally it's about 45 minutes. If you can't advance me, almost to the arc of the story at that point, or at least give me some idea of where we're going, I'm checking out at that point. Mentally just checked out.
Yeah.
I'll probably finish it, but I probably couldn't tell you a damn thing what's going on.
Yeah, I have to say, good or bad, smartphones have helped me complete a lot of movies. Yes. Just because, like, I'm the same way. Like, I have like an OCD thing where I have to at least complete the movie, even if I'm not watching it. That's like my loophole, right? Where it's like, if I'm sitting in front of the television and I'm watching it, but I'm on my phone, like I still consider that quote unquote completing it. but yeah, like there's a lot of movies. I feel like that's probably around the same time. Like I'll give you like the first act, and then like the second act is always like the most exciting, right? That's the act that the most drama happens. That's when like the most amount of stuff happens to your characters. You reach your point of no return. You know your direction of the story. If we get into the second act and there's nothing, like there's no draw for me to like figure out what's going on, and it's just things are happening, then all of a sudden that's when the little voice in my head starts popping up like, hey, what's going on the phone over there?
Yeah.
what's happening on Twitter? You know,
somebody there's a political argument on Facebook. Let's go.
Yeah, you know, and so then it's just like, now I'm on the internet, I'm surfing, I'm on Twitter, I'm looking at different things, and the movie's still playing, and I'm glancing up and I'm listening to it, sort of.
That's exactly how I am.
Yeah, and so so it's about the same thing, I would say. So it's if you can't reel me in like in your second act, if you can't bring me in to focus on your film, then I'll technically complete it, but then you know, I probably won't remember much of it.
Yeah, I've always had that thought too of, I don't know about you, but this is how it works for me, is about 20-30 minutes into a show that I'm producing, I'll know if it's a good show or not.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's about how I am with movies now. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna go with my gut here, and if 30-45 minutes in, it's like, hey, this ain't bad, I'll keep going. But yeah. If you haven't got me in 45 minutes, I'm probably looking up, you know, settlement hacks on Fallout or something like that. That's just how I am.
Nice. I tell you, what scares me lately has been is a movie that has been going great. I don't know why. This has been like a lately thing with me. Is like a movie that's been going fantastic, and then around like the 3/4 mark, I start getting really afraid that they're not going to be able to stick the landing.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. I'm just sitting there going, okay, when's the director going to go? Fuck it, we got a great movie. I'm just going to sneak. I'm just going to get a little creative here. It's like, no!
Yes, exactly. I start getting worried. I'm like, oh, please don't screw this up. You've got such a great thing going. Please don't screw this up.
And there's then there's Jason pirouetting in the woods. It's like, oh god.
Yeah.
You have to do that.
Yeah, it's funny. I mentioned that movie, The Ritual. Have you seen the movie, by the way? Just before Okay. I don't know if you liked it or not. But I felt like that was one that I had that effect on me where I'm like, oh, please don't screw this up. And I will say it definitely took a step down in the third act for me. But ultimately it didn't ruin it for me. Which afterwards I had read a bunch of comments that like apparently it ruined it for a lot of people. But yeah, that was one recently that I remember thinking like, oh, I'm really liking this, and I like the setup and I like the characters, and some of the shots were really creepy. And I remember thinking like, oh man, please just don't go off the rails.
Yeah.
And I mean, and like I said, it definitely did take a bit of a downturn at the end, but for me, I didn't mind it as much as apparently some of the other people.
Yeah. See, that's what kind of happened to me in The Walking Dead too, and it kind of started getting me turned off. Was like the 2 words that no Walking Dead fan ever wants to hear is Farmer Rick.
Oh, geez.
the third season where they're in the prison, you're just like, oh god, can we not? That season doesn't exist. That season doesn't exist. No.
Yeah. So, are you still watching it, or have you bailed?
No, I finally, this whole war thing with Negan, I just finally went, nope, this is too slow. It was just developing too slow for me. And it's like, how many seasons can you stretch this crap out before you're like, okay, we got to do something here?
And this, I think it kind of goes towards what you were talking about earlier. I abandoned Walking Dead, I don't know, I think after maybe the 4th season. What are they up to now? 8, 9? I don't even know.
I think it's up to 8, yeah.
Yeah, so I abandoned, I think, after like the 4th or 5th season. It was like it was like the season after they got to that community
Alexandria. Yeah.
Alexander. Yeah, it was like where the season finale is like Morgan shows up.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for 5 seasons ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so like I think when that season ended, I was like, I think I'm done. It felt like a lot of wheels spinning. And I think going back to kind of like what you were talking about earlier, which is like the 6-episode thing, I think Walking Dead is a perfect example of how they have too many episodes. Like, I what do they have? Like 16 episodes, like 8 and 8, something like that.
Yeah,
and
that's the other thing that bothers me. It's like, you're really into it. You're getting revved up. You're ready for everything to conclude, and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna be gone for 2 months.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
I would have so much rather have had that just do 8-episode seasons, and then just that's the end. Like just like cut out all the fat, because there's so much fat in The Walking Dead, where it's just
you're not kidding.
It's just nothing happening and no one doing anything, and the characters are just literally spinning their wheels, or maybe not literally, but they're just spinning their wheels.
Yeah.
And like it just that really could. I am really loving. Specifically, the BBC tends to do this all the time, which is like these 4 and 5 and 6 episodes.
Yeah. Sherlock is the perfect example of that.
Yeah, like just make it as good as you can make it and as tight as you can make it. And I don't care how many episodes it is. Like, make it 3, 4, 5, 6, but just make it a really good, tight story with no fat. And like, I would much rather want more than have too much and be like, this is boring.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that's the appeal of the BBC's version of Sherlock now. It's like each season is a collection of basically like 4 good movies. Right. They're all tied together, but I mean, it's still, 4 good movies, and something like hey, don't worry, we bounce around all the time here. Like The Strain.
Sure.
You're just sitting there going, okay, well, if each episode is 90 minutes, if each episode is basically a full-length movie, why the hell are you giving them 12 episodes? I mean,
yeah.
Don't let Guillermo get in the way of Guillermo, please. I love Guillermo, but he's got those moments where he just gets in the way of himself, and he's just a tiny bit full of himself, and then he's like, oh, pull it in a little.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. It's the more, and it's really the more I see about like these. I wish we did more of these sort of mini seasons.
Yes.
Like I just watched these are more mini series, but I just watched Collateral on Netflix, which is just a 4-episode mini limited series with now I just blanked on her name, Carey Mulligan. And then I also watched like London Spy with Ben Whishaw, which was like a 6-episode limited series. And then I also watched Godless on Netflix, another 6. No, I forgot how many episodes. That might have been, I think, 8 or 9 or something, a limited series. But it's just I just love that concept of like, I wish we did more of it, where it's just. Here's the story. Like, write your story, and then just tell us the story. Like, stop giving us way markers. Stop being like, well, here's how we're gonna end. Here's how we're gonna begin. Here's our midpoint. Now we just gotta fill in what's gonna happen in the middle. Like, I don't want that. Just give me a full story, and then if it's good, I won't care that it's only 5 episodes. Yeah. I don't know.
Exactly. Well, I just looked down and saw how long we've gone, which is perfect.
Oh my,
great. Yeah, great interview here. We hit the 45-minute mark, so not to hold you up any longer, because I know you've probably got things you need to do, and definitely everybody else. But I guess just tell everybody where they can find you all and give to your project here.
Sure. So the movie's called Cryptid. Cryptid, and you can find the campaign, the investment campaign, at startengine.com/cryptid, and I'm sure there'll be a link somewhere where you can click on it. You can also find us on Twitter, which is @221films, We have a Facebook page called Cryptid Movie, which is just facebook.com/Cryptid Movie. We also have a 221 Films page as well, also the same thing. But yeah, the primary thing is the campaign right now. If you go to that website, you can see a video pitch by me. You can see the opening scene of the movie. We shot the opening scene as like a spec. So you can see like the opening scene of the film. It also has like basically the storyline, the budget, how we're dividing everything up, how we're going to get the money back, how we're going to distribute it, and all the details from timeline to the creature suit to the whole 9 yards. So you can also reach out there and write any comments, and I'll do that. But yeah, that's the major thing. And I just want to mention one last thing, which is what we're doing on that website right now is if this is funded on that website, we will be the first narrative horror feature film to ever fund this way, to ever give the general public the ability to invest in a film. Because before this happened, before this became legal, you could only do it if you're an accredited investor. So you had to make a certain amount of money and you had to be vetted. So this is the first time you're able, as a general public, to be able to invest in a horror movie through crowdfunding.
Oh, well, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Definitely we'll be rooting for you to get this done. The links will be in the show notes, kids. And Brad, we appreciate it.
Awesome. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. This was a lot of fun.
All right. Thank you.
Johnny's all American, no tricks at the wheel.
from an article from 1428elm.com. Yui Boll angrily demands name change for the new Rampage movie. Oh, this is going to be good. Controversial film director Yui Boll is livid about the title of Dwayne Johnson's new Rampage movie and is demanding Warner Brothers change the name. Many moviegoers are heavily anticipating Brad Payton's Rampage movie, which hits theaters next month. But do you know who isn't excited? You guessed it, Yui Boll. Over on his Twitter account, Boll has taken to throwing shade at the upcoming video game adaptation. As far as he is concerned, Warner Brothers has no right to release a film called Rampage and is insistent that a name change be applied. His reasoning? Boll is arguing that it's unfair because he already used the title for his 2009 mass murder film. 2 sequels would follow in 2014 and 2016, which also used the name. According to Boll, his poor indie films would be squashed because of this new film. He says that it confuses the audience. It couldn't be because Boll is considered by many, especially in the horror crowd, to be the worst filmmaker of all time. All I can say is it's going to be really funny to see Boll trying to explain this to a judge, which may happen as he claims he's suing Warner Brothers. And this is Yui Boll's tweet from @YuiBollRaw. Fuck this new fake Rampage movie. Yui Boll is going to sue Warner Brothers. Asshole. Totally serious. We'll update soon. Boll literally states on his Twitter account that anyone who disagrees with him works for Burger King. If you ask me, this guy's the prime definition of a person living in his own universe. If nothing else, however, at least the whole thing is pretty funny. Whether Boll likes it or not, Rampage is set to hit theaters on April 13th, 2018. Okay, number 1, Yui Boll, shut the fuck up. Okay? It's not going to confuse the audience. Audience knows Rampage movie, this new one, is from a video game not directed by you, Yui Boll. And number 2, there are several fucking movies with same titles, different movies. Okay? We all know this. We all know this. It's not going to confuse anybody with your films. Trust me. Trust me. There's no confusion on which Rampage film is which. Okay? And plus, Yui Boll, you told everybody to shut the fuck up anyway, so you shut the fuck up. But on his side, I understand that he would think that people would think this new Rampage movie is one of his. But we know it's not! Even though, this might blow my credibility, I thought Blood Rain was pretty good. Granted, it didn't tell the whole story, but it was not bad. It was not bad. He's done far worse. So anyway, I just want to say, Yui Boll needs to shut the fuck up because he told everyone that he thinks they're shit. So, yeah, shove it, Yui Boll. And get a grip! And you're listening to EMZT Radio.
Who is in my town? Hey everyone, this is Bowmine Bob from Bowling with Bobcat. You can listen to me live every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern at sfdradio.com, where I'm bringing you the best of the worst in cheap booze, talking bum wine, beers, 40s, malt liquor, and more. Always featuring the latest and greatest in the world of drinking and entertainment, along with some special guests. So come on down and take a ride with Bumwine Bob. If you can't be there live, you can always listen in the archives at bumwinebob.com. So sit back, relax, grab a drink, and enjoy. Cheers.
Hey, Sunshine Productions is putting out a new horror short called Heartless. And this one is based on Edgar Allan Poe's Telltale Heart. It is an Overlook associate struggles to complete a corporate presentation as a horrific secret gnaws at her conscience. And this one's shot in LA. It's about 12 minutes. Should be coming out shortly. We've got some stills from it. Stacey Snider is starring in this as Shelby. It's Joanna Samura is Claire. Matt Mercer, that's right, is Dino. I think a lot of people know who Matt Mercer is from Geek and Sundry. Blaine Verdos is Brant. Ron Morehouse is Trip. And the admin is played by Melanie Milanez. This is a Kevin Sundler directed feature. And it's definitely something you need to be looking out for. We'll put the link to it in the show notes. You can definitely check this out. Hopefully we can get everybody on to talk about this soon. But check out Heartless.
Do you like science fiction, action, and adventure?
Hours of constant cleaning-based sexual innuendo?
The sound of the whole table yelling at one guy for rolling poorly.
Inspirational anecdotes? And have you ever fantasized about having your head being massaged by a psychic?
If so, follow the adventures of the crew of the Irritated Badger on the Chaotic Goodness podcast, coming every Monday on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere else you find your podcasts.
Space adulting's hard.
Thomas Henning has a new feature coming out as well. This one is going to be produced by James Wren and directed by Martin Stocks. And it is called Black Lake. Now, the fundraising has already begun. It began Friday. Basically, it is a man wakes up in a dark, foggy, yet hostile world after causing a fatal car crash. He navigates this place spellbound by its stunning ethereal nature, which includes a lake and small stars floating on its pitch-black water. Dread quickly sets in when he realizes the malevolent dangers of this half-dead world lurking beneath the surface, and he is forced to confront his darkest fears and make the ultimate sacrifice as he attempts to escape. So this one's definitely very interesting. In this one as well, you want to head over to their crowdfunding campaign. We will put up the links in the show notes just so you know where to go to support Black Lake.
The show that puts the story back into history.
History is all about discovering the why. And I think that in that process, it's important to never take the story out of history.
Making history come alive, one episode at a time.
But this is a podcast on the American Revolution for this series, and all about a free country, so do whatever the hell you want.
Visit theMondayAmerican.com to get more. Dive into the Monday American. Don't worry, we'll be gentle.
From the-line-up.com, 15 bone-chilling quotes from serial killers. Getting a peek inside the mind of a serial killer is simultaneously fascinating and horrifying. These societal outcasts have a unique, twisted view of the world, and their words are often chilling. Number 1. Karl Panzeram. Born 1892, executed 1930. Quote, I believe the only way to reform people is to kill them. End quote. Number 2. Jane Toppin. Born 1854, died in Taunton Insane Hospital, 1938. Quote, that is my ambition, to have killed more people, more helpless people, than any man or woman who has ever lived. End quote. Number 3, Albert Fish. Born 1870, executed 1936. Quote, I always had the desire to inflict pain on others and to have others inflict pain on me. I always seemed to enjoy everything that hurt. the desire to inflict pain, that is all that is uppermost." End quote. Number 4, Eileen Wuornos, born 1956, executed 2002. Quote, "To me, this world is nothing but evil, and my own evil just happened to come out 'cause of the circumstances of what I was doing." End quote. Number 5, Dennis Rader, born 1945, still alive. Quote, "When this monster entered my head, I will never know, but it is here to stay. How does one cure himself? I can't stop it. The monster goes on, and he hurts me as well as society. Maybe you can stop him. I can't." End quote. Number 6, Edmund Kemper, born 1948 and still alive. Quote, "I remember there was actually a sexual thrill. You hear the little pop and pull their heads off and hold their heads up by their hair, whipping their heads off, their bodies sitting there. That'd get me off." End quote. Number 7, David Allen Gore, born 1953, executed 2012. Quote, "All of a sudden I realized I had just done something that separated me from the human race, and it was something that could never be undone. I realized from that point on I could never be like normal people." End quote. Number 8, David Berkowitz, born 1953, still alive. Quote, "I was literally singing to myself on the way home. The tension, the desire to kill a woman, had built up in me to such explosive proportions that when I finally pulled the trigger, all the pressures, all the tensions, hatred, just vanished, dissipated, but only for a short time." End quote. Number 9, Gary Ridgway, born 1949, still alive. Quote, "I don't believe in man, God, or the devil. I hate the whole damned human race, including myself." End quote. Number 10, John Wayne Gacy, born 1942, executed 1994. Quote, "A clown can get away with murder." End quote. Number 11, Henry Lee Lucas, born 1936, died in prison 2001. Quote, "Sex is one of my downfalls. I get sex any way I can get it. If I have to force someone to do it, I do. I rape them. I've done that. I've killed animals to have sex with them, and I've had sex while they're alive." End quote. Number 12, Ian Brady, born 1938, died in Ashworth Hospital 2017. Quote, "We do whatever we enjoy doing. Whether it happens to be judged good or evil is a matter for others to decide." End quote. Number 13, H. Holmes, born 1861, executed 1896. Quote, "I was born with the devil in me. I could not help the fact that I was a murderer, no more than the poet can help the inspiration to sing. I was born with the evil one standing as my sponsor beside the bed where I was ushered into the world, and he has been with me since." End quote. Number 14, Jeffrey Dahmer, born 1960, killed in prison 1994. Quote, "My consuming lust was to experience their bodies. I viewed them as objects, as strangers. It's hard for me to believe that a human being could have done what I've done." End quote. Number 15, Peter Curtin, born 1883, executed 1931. Quote, "After my head has been chopped off, will I still be able to hear, at least for a moment, the sound of my own blood gushing from my neck? That would be the pleasure to end all pleasures." End quote. And you are listening to EMZT Radio.
Engine overload.
And that wraps up another episode of EMZT Radio. Thank you, Brad Rego, for giving us your time to talk about your project.
Yes. And, again, check that stuff out. We've got a link on the website. There'll be links galore in the show notes as well. So, thank you, Brad. Hey, before we get out of here, let's talk a couple more things. Your favorite movie of all time. The one you adore, the one you can't stop but to think about. The Human Centipede. It's getting a graphic novel. Yeah, it's getting a graphic novel. I can't wait.
Oh boy.
I'll have that thing. Pants down around my ankles too, watching. Okay. Anyways.
Is it reading for the shitter?
Excuse me. I play my Nintendo Switch on the shitter. Thank you very much.
Oh boy.
That's actually true, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Anyways.
I believe it.
Yes. If you haven't heard yet, author Tom Six is going to do a graphic novel based on the Human Centipede.
I wonder if it'll be more gross.
I hope so.
I mean, the movies were pretty. I'm serious. When I watched them, I had to have a bucket with me.
Nice. Hey!
So, yeah.
I got some awesome news since we're on graphic novels and comic books. Tom Holland.
Nice segue.
Yes. Tom Holland has made an announcement. It's back. That's right. Do you guys remember the Fright Night comic book series?
Oh! What?
Yes. That's right. Tom Holland confirms Fright Night is back, baby!
Woo!
Tom Holland
nice.
took to Twitter earlier this week to break the news, saying, quote, "If you dug the Fright Night comic book series from back in the day, I have good news. I'm bringing it back. New stories and illustrations are underway. Stay tuned for more tales from Peter Vincent."
Wow.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Can't wait.
Also, in awesome news this week, I was going to do a separate segment on this, but I've decided not to. I wanted to talk about this with you. Umbrella Entertainment has announced they're bringing 2 movies to Blu-ray later this year. Beyond Reanimator and Bride of Reanimator.
What? Woo!
You heard me.
Nice.
All 3 Reanimators are going to be on Blu-ray soon. Because I think the original Reanimator is currently on Blu-ray, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't have it, but yeah, I think it is.
But yes, folks, Beyond Reanimator and Bride of Reanimator are coming to Blu-ray. We just don't know when yet. They said stay tuned.
Oh.
They just made the announcement
I think
that
they should continue that series.
I agree. Where would you go? Where would you go with it? Is Herbert dead now?
Well, okay. No, in the third one, he walked out of prison.
Yes,
so
he
could be anywhere.
He did walk out of prison because I believe that was Beyond Reanimator, wasn't it? That's the third one of the trilogy.
Yes. Yes, that's the third one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Beyond Reanimator, for those of you who don't know, that's the one where he is in prison. It actually kind of, in a way, it's kind of the second one, if you really think about it.
Yeah, because it's like right after what happened at the end of Reanimator, he goes on trial, gets put in, and his partner, Dan Kane, testified against him to put him in prison.
Yeah, and he goes to this corrupt-ass prison, and
And he's still doing experiments, granted on rats, but it goes from there.
Although Bride, it wasn't Bride of Reanimator, wasn't that basically more focused on what happened to put him on trial?
Well, that was part of it.
Yeah.
It was part of it because some of his experiments were coming back.
Yeah.
He thought he got rid of these experiments and they're coming back. And one guy who Herbert experimented on his wife really tried to nail him.
One fucking guy.
Yeah, that one guy who's actually a cop.
Yeah. One fucking guy.
Yeah. And just everything blows to shit. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Basically.
But they should continue it.
Herbert's World.
I should tell Brian Usna my idea about Herbert hooking up with a goth girl and incorporating his serum with magic, like dark magic or black magic or something like that. I think that would be a killer combination.
That could be fun. Yeah. So, okay, there we go. I lost my thing for a minute.
Uh-oh.
Detachable penis. Okay.
What is it with you and Boom Doom talking about penises? Come on.
Because we're guys. Boys have a penis and girls have a vagina. Okay. I've always wanted to use that on a podcast. I don't know why.
There you go. We made your wish come true.
My life is complete now. I've quoted Kindergarten Cop on a horror podcast.
Check that off your bucket list.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Yeah. Also in movie news, how about this one? Rob Zombie is now filming 3 from Hell, and David Uri, who was Schizohead in 31, is joining the cast.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Wow.
Clint Howard is portraying Mr. Baggy Britches in the House of a Thousand Corpse and Devil's Rejects sequel. It also boasts the return of our Lord and Savior, Captain Spaulding.
What?
Yes, our Lord and Savior, Captain Spaulding, is back in the third one. Otis is back as well, and of course, our everybody's wife, baby, is back as well. Austin Stoker is in this one as well. Dee Wallace, Jeff Daniel Phillips, who was Uncle Seymour Coffins in Halloween 2, by the way, if you're wondering. Zombie also added another regular to his 3 from Hell cast, revealing the addition of Daniel Roebuck, who will be reprising Morris Green, Rugville's favorite TV personality. So, actually, kind of excited to see a Rob Zombie film for once.
Yeah, that sounds like that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. I'm interested in the Rob Zombie film. So that's about a first in about 10 years.
Well, everybody has to go through some bad periods before they get back to being good.
Yeah, but not all of us can shit all over Halloween.
I know.
I went there, MFers. I went there. That's right.
You went there.
Right. I went there because this podcast goes there. All right.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyways. Speaking of things that Rob Zombie hasn't completely shit on yet, but probably wants to. Friday the 13th, the game, is going to make solo play better. Now, they've been working a lot on the co-op portion of the game. They've been working a lot on the online player trying to make that experience better, but here we go. Detailed by Gun Media. Can we say the word gun anymore now, or is that illegal?
No, I think gun's still good.
Gun's still good? Okay. As detailed by Gun Media in a forum post this week, and we're quoting here, quote, "We've talked about grab animation, single-player challenges, weapons switching, changes to Part 7, Jason, grab animation reworking, blah, 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 blah." Okay, here's what you need to know about the offline bots. AI will now be equipped with perks that better match the selected difficulty level, which is what I love, which is why Borderlands, by the way, is still relevant 10 years later. Because of the leveling of the enemies. Playing on hard, the counselors might be packing a perk that starts them out with a defensive item, just like their human counterparts. So hey, we're getting more realistic. AI will be better at choosing a hiding spot and what cabins they should enter, based on the number of counselors in the other cabins. At higher difficulties, counselors will more carefully select and use weapons, weighing their chance to stun, and they'll probably ditch that stick for something that packs a lot more punch. AI might not be able to appreciate music, but at higher difficulty, AI will use the radios located in the cabin as a means of distraction. The higher difficulty AI can shoot more accurately, place traps, and that's the way it should be. Place more traps, and will attempt to open Jason's traps with pocket knives. They have become better at repairing vehicles, letting friends into a repaired car before they take off, as well as getting back onto the road in case of a wreck. Counselors will react more realistically to sounds, including broken windows, doors, and walls, and depending on the difficulty and the counselor you snatch up, they might have an easier time breaking free of Jason's grasp. Oh my God, somebody gets it.
Oh boy. Wow.
I almost now want to buy the game.
Me too.
Once that happens, I'll buy the game. And I guess next to final or whatever, I got some more news for you. This time in the world of Sharknado.
Is there another one?
This will be the last one.
No.
Yes, the final Sharknado has been announced.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And we love our friends at the Asylum. They follow us on Twitter. They do a hell of a job with Zombie Nation.
Yes.
But guys. TV Line has confirmed that Sharknado 6, punny titled forthcoming, will bring back the franchise regulars Ian Ziering, Tara Reid, Cassie Serbio, and Vivica A. Fox, along with five-time filmmaker Anthony C. Ferrane, for one last final time. Now, you're probably wondering, didn't Tara Reid get killed in the last one? Yes, she did.
She got blown to bits.
How is Tara Reid coming back? We're going to be traveling in time. Time travel, baby!
Oh my God!
That's right, time travel. Oh, we're getting time travel, and not only are we going to get tornadoes and sharks this time, how about this? We're going to get Nazis. We're going to get dinosaurs. I mean, we can still say Nazis, right? And that's still, okay. We're not an alt-right podcast, okay? We're going to get dinosaurs, knights, and yes, kids, even Noah's Ark is going to make an appearance.
Holy shit, really?
Oh my God, this might actually be so bad it's funny. Unlike Sharknado.
Are we sure this is going to be the last one?
Yes, that's what they've said. That Asylum has even said this is the last one.
Oh man, I was enjoying just the pure stupidness of it all.
I know, so was I. Which reminds me, and I can't believe I didn't bring this up earlier. I watched a movie the other day. And it might be the dumbest movie I've ever seen.
What?
It was called Attack of the Killer Donuts. It came out in 2007. I don't know how I missed this Oscar-worthy gem. Every other line was basically a catchphrase from another movie. Yeah. Yeah. It's...
Where did you find that?
It was on Showtime.
It's not on Netflix. Oh, Showtime. Okay.
It was on Showtime. Yeah. I don't... I mean, well, the title's pretty self-explanatory. These donuts go around killing people. I don't know how else to explain it. It's a really god-awful movie.
Do they do with telekinesis, or they just jump at you and they eat you something?
They all jump at you.
How do donuts kill? I was going to say, how would donuts kill you?
So you're probably wondering how the donuts turn killer. And so earlier in the movie, this is right at the beginning of the movie, there's a little bit of a kind of a robbery at a donut shop. Who just happens to walk in, but a doctor that kind of reminds you, and it's kind of doing the same thing as Herbert West.
Oh my God.
In the fracas, the serum goes flying out of his pocket. And somewhere around the donuts.
In the batter?
It kind of went in the batter. Well, I guess it went on the donuts. That really wasn't... I really wasn't paying attention at that point.
Okay.
Like, I wasn't really paying attention to how the serum got in the donuts. But I will say this. The owner of the donut shop apparently apparently can't masturbate very much. Because just about every scene that he's in, he's about to pull his pants down and jerk off when something happens. I mean, and let me just say this: they go as far as letting him get the tissues. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
The minute they saw him in front of his computer in the back of the donut shop, I just sat there and went, "Oh my God, he's looking at porn." So yeah, that's going on in the beginning. He gets eaten, by the way.
No.
Two cops get eaten. Although there was now, I will say this. This should qualify as one of EMZT's deaths of the year. One donut, now one of our heroes, actually two of our heroes work at the donut shop. The other one is just kind of a loser dude that hangs around and is banging one of the guy's moms. But anyways. Another issue for all the time. It's weird. Anyways. So, the donut shop dude, not the owner, one of our heroes, is this big blonde bimbo. She's using him for money. And they tried to make her as much of a bimbo as possible, so that's why I'm using the word bimbo. So yeah, the dude she's fucking gets killed by a donut. How does it's one of the long straight donuts. I guess I don't know what you call those things. I'm not big into the donut world. I don't know donuts terms. But it's one of the long straight ones bores into his head. And this dude looks like he could be Kid Rock's inbred brother. I mean, we're talking Trans Am, mullet, jean shorts, and yes, an American flag tank top.
Oh my god.
You can't make this dude any more redneck other than, hey, my mom and my sister. So yeah. That happened. That movie was just awful. I am an awful human being for watching it. I do not recommend that movie because you'll just be sitting there going, what the fuck? For about 20 minutes. And you'll get pissed off and that'll be that. Oh, one last thing I want to ask before we kind of get out of here. Unless you've got other things we need to discuss.
Nope.
It was announced earlier this week that John Cena will play Duke Nukem.
Yes, I just saw that.
That's right. Duke Nukem is coming to the big screen. Hail to the king, baby. I can't see it. I'm sorry, I just can't see it. I mean, is he going to sit there and start screaming, "You can't see me! You can't see me!" No. I can't wait to see.
Interesting.
I honestly can't wait to see this because Duke Nukem is almost everything. I mean, literally, if Duke Nukem, the video game, came out these days, do you know how quick that shit would get shut down?
A lot. Yeah, real quick.
I mean,
yeah.
It is basically everything that is wrong with men. It is totally misogynistic. It's borderline racist in a way. So,
yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think he might offend. He's gonna offend some people.
Balls of steel.
Why don't you audition for Duke Nukem?
I would love to, because I would be more Deadpool than Duke Nukem. Like, I would totally go Deadpool on it. I honestly think Ryan Reynolds would probably be perfect for Duke Nukem.
He would, actually.
Yeah. But he's a little busy, filming that small movie. I think it's called Deadpool 2.
Yep. Well, no, it's coming out in May, right?
Yeah, well, I mean,
May 18th, Deadpool 2. But yeah, he's busy promoting it and shit.
Yeah,
he's a busy boy.
He's a little busy. But anyways. Yeah. So you got anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, then. Then we might as well get the hell out of here, because I'm pretty sure we're going to start offending people in a minute. All right. So,
and we're... I was going to say, our links?
Yes.
Where can we be found?
Yes, we can be found on Facebook. We can be found on Twitter. We can be found on YouTube. We can be found on Twitch, Mixer, and Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Links.
Mm-hmm.
The links are in the show notes.
Yes.
Also, please.
And we have Patreon for those who are generous enough.
Yes, Patreon and Maker Support is out there. We are going to go back to putting in the interviews early for you. Radio station's working just fine now. As you know, we've basically lost our Saturday night lineup. More details on that later, actually, because there's a new project I'm kind of working on for Saturday night. Don't forget to check out our Potter and Family pod block on Sundays. And other than that, new t-shirts are coming. When we get everything set up for the new t-shirt shop, there's going to be a whole bunch more. How would you like an EMZT koozie or an EMZT towel? Or, how about this? How would you like to have an EMZT pillowcase?
Oh! Yeah.
It's coming.
Oh.
Anyways, other than that, I think it's time for us.
I'm excited.
And it's time for us to fly.
And stay tuned for another episode of EMZT Radio.
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos or create blood.
Red rum.